Well, thank you everyone for attending this particular session. And for me, it's a hello from sunny Sydney here in Australia. I'm going to be co-presenting this session with a customer of ours, Jürgen Stegmaier from Texas Women's University. And the issue we're going to be addressing today is how you boost collaboration and add business value using modern APIs and API management. So to begin, let's unpack this definition here a little bit around what is a modern API. I mean, it's very obvious that APIs are fueling digital innovation. 80% or more of organizations are using APIs today, and nearly all of them have some sort of API strategy in place. APIs are becoming the modern enabler for the cloud-first self-service enterprise. And in doing so, they're also helping to bring a lot of the existing on-ground investments, legacy if you want to call it, along for the journey. So modern APIs are proving to be an exceptional tool in helping businesses transform, to speed up, and to deliver better customer experiences. But there's still more to be done. And there's a lot of thinking around how do you use APIs to drive the enterprise automation across your organization. And there's lots of different business challenges that APIs are helping enable. Because digital transformation is still very much top of mind for every organization out there, delivering exceptional connected digital experiences is important. And so APIs are helping drive these digital initiatives. They are very much the lingua franca of the digital and mobile development. So modern APIs are allowing developers to be productive in their journey around digital transformation. And there's a very strong focus in that around this discovery-led consumption. How do you use discovery of existing API assets, allow you to drive a culture of self-service and a culture of reuse across the organization? APIs are also helping organizations on their cloud journey. Most cloud-based or SaaS-based applications and capabilities are powered by APIs. And the way that organizations are consuming and leveraging these cloud and SaaS-based offerings is via an API-driven economy as well. Modern APIs enable owners as well. So if you're a domain or a business owner across an organization, you're able to access core capabilities within the business and access to core streams of data in a manner that's very modern and natural to the way you wish to consume those capabilities. And by doing this, it allows the organization to drive a high degree of self-service and reuse across the organization. Business and domain owners are able to get access to these core capabilities and access to this data to fuel the experiences associated with those automated business journeys without needing to be experts in the underlying systems that are delivering those. Modern APIs help with legacy modernization. It's very difficult today for you to find a developer out of university who knows how to talk to a mainframe or even knows how to speak to some of the larger systems which have been around for a while, like SAP, for example. And so modern APIs are putting a modern facade on top of some of those legacy investments, allowing these younger developers to be able to participate in the digital economy and to drive forward their digital and mobile development without needing to be experts in the underlying systems, and quite frankly, being specialists of systems that they never had any education on or have no desire to touch directly. And this drives a certain degree of fungibility. When modern APIs are decoupling complex, deeply technical legacy interaction and producing a very easy modern interface that's easy to discover and easy to reuse, and built for that modern developer. Through that decoupling, it allows central IT to be able to make changes on a minor or even a wholesale scale to those legacy systems and even replace them without breaking the dependency that all those modern digital and mobile experiences have built on top of the API. And so fungibility provides us with an unprecedented ability to be able to pay down technical debt whilst the business keeps operating at the speed of digital. And one thing that we've also found is that modern APIs, when they're developed taking a domain-driven design approach to their construction, and through careful identification of APIs and layering of APIs, you're able to address quite often more than 80% of the master data management challenges that organizations face within their business. And finally, modern APIs are enabling the business as a platform. There's many examples out there today of organizations who are exposing their whole business as core APIs. And there's many organizations who have this as an ambition. When your core business capability or your core value data is exposed as a modern API to the rest of the world, then other organizations are able to build and innovate on top of your business very programmatically. And then expands your reach and allows organizations that do this to be able to address new routes to market and get access to customers that perhaps they weren't able to address through their traditional business models. And so speaking of business models, we tend to see three core business models made up around APIs. And so the first is the composable enterprise. It's businesses that are made up of APIs. It's organizations that are using APIs to break down monoliths within their organization, able to liberate data silos and promote this focus on reuse and self-service. When the modern enterprise is built up of these composable assets through modern APIs, it allows them to have a library of these enterprise Lego bricks that are really easy to discover, really easy to understand, naturally aligned to business and domain owners and modern mobile and digital developers. And they can rapidly put those pieces together in new composite ways very quickly to produce new capabilities across the business in a time frame and at a cost point that was not achievable when we were dealing just with legacy systems and monolithic style systems. And some good examples of that are probably most modern enterprises that are already down their path of an API strategy. The second business model is organizations that are made from APIs. And so this could be, examples might be Uber or Airbnb, where their whole businesses that are built up from the harvesting of other businesses' APIs. If you look at Uber, for example, they use the Stripe API. They use driver validation APIs. They use Google Maps to help improve the experience in the application. There's hundreds of external APIs that they rely upon that they've brought together and stitched together in a very rapid fashion and built a whole business on the back of that. And you would also be familiar with organizations such as Google Maps, where leveraging the Google Maps capability inside of a retail experience, for example, means that a retailer is able to provide a store locator capability within their website or their mobile application without needing to go and build that capability in-house themselves. They just get to leverage the gold standard through the API economy. A good example there, as we've seen over here in Australia, is the government has released a QR API, a QR code API, so that when COVID hit, and as we're returning to business as normal, every organization out there is able to have a QR code on their door or on the table of the restaurant you sit in that a citizen can scan when they arrive to register the fact that they were there for contact tracing should a COVID outbreak occur. This meant that these organizations didn't need to build that capability themselves. It was provided as a service via a modern API from the government out to all these organizations. And the final example is more that business as a platform approach. It's organizations that want to become an API. Their whole business, which may also be made up of APIs and made from APIs, is being exposed as a single or as a set of APIs for the rest of the world to innovate on top of. Google do this through Google Maps. Twilio and Stripe are other good examples where their whole business is exposed as a single, modern, easy to find, easy to understand API that when you leverage and program into your business, you're able to get access to things like telephony as a service or payment as a service through those two particular examples. And there's lots of organizations out there that have ambitions to become these platforms. And modern government is a really good example of where we're starting to see intergovernment interaction and government to citizen and other organization interaction occurring through these businesses as a platform. So many organizations are using, in fact, nearly every organization that I speak to today is using APIs in a very strategic way. And nearly all of them have an API strategy that they're on the journey through maturity of. And so 4 key aspects that I think are important to any API strategy is these. The first is collaboration. How do you drive a mindset that encourages discovery of these APIs so that people will go looking for them as though they already exist before they go to central IT and ask them to be built from scratch? And that's very similar to the App Store sort of mindset you have with your mobile phone. Management. How do you protect and secure these assets? How do you control them? How do you measure their consumption? And as these APIs proliferate across the organization, there will become more of a mandate to be able to have this sort of discovery, protection, and control. As you can see from the diagram on the right, that beautiful API is only as good as the deep and powerful connectivity and integration that sits underneath it, which brings it to light. And so integration and the aspects associated with it and everything you'll learn throughout the events today relate to how do you take care of the complexity and deliver that as something that's very simple and beautiful. And of course, automation. As you're delivering more APIs, as you're consuming more APIs, as more APIs come under your control, how do you automate more of this? How do APIs play a leading role in an enterprise automation strategy to ensure that you're meeting the objectives that the business is asking of you? And so there is a full API lifecycle that's associated with APIs. And it's important that you look to address all these different areas in your API strategy. And finally, SnapLogic is unique in this area as well. So not only do we have the API management capability, but when it's coupled with the other strengths of the platform and all the other areas of capability that we can provide, and when you wrap that with very strong intelligent artificial intelligence and deep, sophisticated, and very powerful enterprise automation, we bring to you a unique solution which allows you to deliver on the value of your API strategy with the depth of integration required to make it useful to you, with the ability to put these capabilities in the hands of domain and business owners. And we take care of ensuring artificial intelligence assistance and augmentation along the way. And we'll also make sure that the platform is automating so many more of those aspects of your API strategy as you go forward. And so to talk you through, more of these attributes in details, I want to hand over to Jürgen Stegmaier, who's the Associate Director of Integration Analytics and Web Services at our customer, Texas Women's University, because Jürgen was also working for an organization that was a cloud-enabled, cloud-first organization that was looking to speed up the pace of their delivery and their turnaround time, had a requirement for self-service across the business, and was looking for that one platform to standardize on to allow them to achieve their objectives. So Jürgen, over to you.
Wonderful, great. Thank you very much, Brad. Hello, everybody. My name is Jürgen Stegmaier. I am the Associate Director for Integration, Analytics, and Web Services at IT Solutions of the Texas Women's University. I'm working for Arman Rashid, the Director of Enterprise Application and Integration. Let me introduce our institution a little bit. The Texas Women's University is the nation's largest university primarily for women. We have 3 beautiful campuses with over 60,000 students, and we are located in North Texas, primarily the area around Dallas, Denton, and Houston. Within Texas Women's University, IT Solutions is the main department of TWU, which provides IT services for all constituent needs, one of which is providing data access and integration for enterprise data. Our main website is www.twu.edu, and I invite everybody to go and take a look what Texas Women's University is all about. In order to talk about API and integration, and in order to provide you more information about our journey, it is important to mention that our Enterprise Application and Integration Director created the API integration strategy about 2 years ago. The main factors of motivation in that strategy were, number 1, cloud reality. More and more applications are moving to the cloud. or we choose partner solutions and applications that are only available in the cloud. This means that traditional data access patterns, i.e. direct database access, are no longer available. Our IT organization will embark in the new year into an evaluation project about our major ERP system, including asking the question of whether it makes sense to migrate to a cloud solution or not for that ERP system. The second motivation is higher delivery requirements. Our customers and our institution has had higher turnaround requirements for IT requests around IT integration and data delivery. The promise of an iPaaS platform and an API-led organization is to support these requests more fully in the future. Finally, the third one is talent turnaround time and no code to low code requirements. Talent that can develop for major ERP systems like Colleague and Oracle EBS is expensive and not very easy to come by anymore. In addition, our organization has experienced some talent turnaround in those areas. Institutional knowledge and experience leaving the company and hard to maintain code and solutions are staying behind. API and iPaaS promise to encapsulate data architecture, structures, and complexity, and the no-code to low-code approach will be extremely helpful in maintaining integration solutions and in the creation of new pipelines and automation. We are at the beginning of our journey into an API-led enterprise, and it is advisable for everybody to undertake such a journey and to start with an inventory and a baseline. Our baseline has shown significant diversification in methods and tools used for integration. The absence of an API strategy and related information management around it, existing culture for API development and management is more of an ad hoc nature than managed and planned. A high dependency on specific individuals and developers and data subject matter experts exists, and uncertainty about information surrounding interfaces, integrations, and APIs sometimes add to delays for development and support processes. In addition, two of our biggest ERP systems do not offer substantial API support at the moment. Therefore, we have been looking into developing our strategy. And every strategy needs to have a nice acronym or a catchphrase or a moniker. Well, to that extent, we have called our strategy API First. It includes a change of thinking by challenging new and existing integration and business processes towards the integrative use of API rather than an acceptance of the legacy integration patterns and old ways of thinking. Business processes can be supported more optimally with working towards a framework on how to include API to produce and consume information all across the institution, not just through our IT department. This strategy includes architecture components as necessary and needed, and as not bound to a single product or platform. Vendor-provided API are a part of the solution as well as custom developed and provided API. One of the main goals is to gradually phase out legacy data access path and introducing API for data production and consumption. An important element of the strategy is an integration catalog that strategically ingests, curates, manages, and communicates information regarding interfaces, integrations, and API. Data domain knowledge abstraction. Our API-first strategy will help in abstracting data in such a way to make it easier to digest by information consumers through offering API with general usage footprints and contracts for consumption. The first step is to allow internal consumption for the ITS organization and Texas Women's University institution. A future step will review where external-facing API consumption and exposure can be helpful to improve business processes. So, what do we envision as our API and integration future? In short, we want to bring about a solution and architecture which includes important components and capabilities to meet future demand and to shift legacy base towards an integrative approach. In addition, we want to become more proactive partners for our institutional customers to fit their information consumption and production needs as well. Towards that, we also offer new capabilities that we did not have before. Successful projects that have already been implemented since we started our SnapLogic iPaaS implementation in August 2020 include, but are not limited to, document extraction for vendor contracts and migration into a new vendor contract management system through API, document extraction for compliance contracts out of a team dynamics platform through API, the support of a workflow proof of concept project by creating limited scope API for institutional data, and 2 or 3 more. One of the adoption barriers for API first is that there are some vendors that do not offer API integration support yet, or the API support for an integration project would be more expensive than a traditional integration approach like an SFTP-based file transport. In addition, we have chosen SnapLogic as a partner on our journey. Why did we do that? SnapLogic, after having gone through an extensive proof of concept through us, has not only taken the time to already train us within the proof of concept, but they have offered us the most functionality for an incredible value and investment. There is a wide range of existing snaps out of the box already available. Additional ones can be added for affordable sums. We value high functionalities for API management, which is a subscription functionality to the platform, data evaluation and analytics snap packs. The data evaluation already comes in very handy in providing robust data quality analysis capabilities at integration time. We pride ourselves in not just integrating data, but also being as responsible as we can in the integration architecture and layer for data quality, providing feedback to data sources and providing a data quality assurance into our data targets. The automation capabilities of the pipelines are a great asset. We especially appreciate the easy creation of API out of the pipeline designer, which is a wizard approach and pretty unique in the solutions out in the market. The platform has proven to be very reliable. So far, we have yet to encounter capacity or performance limits. In addition, SnapLogic has shared their APIM roadmap with us and will continue to do so, which gives us insight into where the APIM functionalities are going to in the future. In short, we are very happy customers so far. Let's talk about architecture a little bit. This is a very simplified architecture diagram. It is an application architecture, a very high-level overview of our API integration, showing our biggest ERP systems participating. With ERP systems in an institutional context, we are talking about student administration systems, which is in our case, Illusion Colleague, or our financials and HR administration system, which is Oracle e-business. The application architecture makes clear that we intend to use SnapLogic as what I call an API factory And we will direct everything to that paradigm as it makes sense. I am an information scientist, and I want to point out that information management surrounding integration, interfaces, and API is very important. We have created a main object used to maintain information related to integration, interfaces, and API. This process is still in its infancy, and you can see that the emphasis really is on information management, not necessarily on the tool used to manage it. In the future, I hope to be able to use tools for business term management, for example, something like SAS, Business Data Network, or other enterprise-wide data cataloging tools for information objects like this. But in the very beginning, we have to remember that the process needs to be there, the way of thinking needs to be there, and then we can have a tool that follows it. In addition, we are always willing to entertain questions and contacts in the future, and we would love to hear from you to start a dialogue with other partners and with other companies that use SnapLogic or have questions in the general domain of API, integration, and interfaces. Let me thank you for listening to my presentation. Arman and I, we are always happy and willing to entertain questions and comments. And with that, we will go to Q&A.
So Jürgen, thank you very much. That was really insightful. There is a question that's come in from one of our guests, Christopher. He asks, what specific application did you use this for?
What specific application? Well, we are using it for all domains and all existing legacy integrations that are in our infrastructure, mainly all interfaces and integrations that are surrounding our major ERP systems to start out with. However, this is just the first phase. The ERP systems are the meatiest systems, as we are a higher education institution. You can imagine that most of our information that is being exchanged, interfaced, dealt with is centering around students. So it makes sense to start looking at the major systems first, the major ERP systems, and then branch out into all of the other snowflake systems. So in our case, we are currently looking at interfaces related to Colleague and to Oracle EBS.
Thank you. Another question we have here, which I could probably answer for the customer as well, which is saying, what's the most important aspect of any API strategy, which could easily mean the difference between success or failure? I think my view of this is the most important piece of any API strategy is probably the cultural and the mindset aspects. It's really easy to develop APIs. It's really hard to get people to know how to find them and use them without just duplicating them and building them from themselves. So instead of taking a project by project mindset where you're scoping out what APIs are required for your project and going off and building those in the platform, it's important to change this mindset to one around discovery-led consumption, where there's this assumption that an API for what you're looking for exists. It's a natural behavior for customers today with their iPhones. You know, you're looking for an application or an app to give you weather. You assume one exists and you go looking for it in the App Store. And so that mindset around looking for something, intentionally discovering something that you assume exists is a very important mindset. And once you get that right inside of the organization and it gets mandated from a high level to think that way, then, you know, the reuse and the self-service aspects around APIs become very natural. And another question here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jürgen, did you want to add?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'd like to add. You know, I remember the slide of the icebergs that you shown floating in the sea.
Yeah.
If we think about, we want to make, for example, the SnapLogic web API portal, our exposure point, our endpoint for APIs. cooperation and communication will be extremely important throughout the organization, IT organization, and our institution to make people aware that it exists. It's not like we build it and they will come. There are still other processes surrounding it for people to participate in the discussion.
Totally agree. So that's all we have time for. Thank you everyone for attending. We hope you got something out of this session, and we'd be happy to talk to you more around this topic after the session as well. So if you could please head back to the general session and get ready for the upcoming customer panel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.